Okay, thank you very much. Welcome to the Adelaide Hills Green Army team graduation. We're very pleased to have such a good response to our invitation, and extremely pleased to have Josh Frydenberg here, Minister for Environment and Energy. And we also have the MP for Ison, Josh T here. Thank you very much for coming, Josh.
Nice to see you. Good name.
And the Liberal candidate for Mayor, Georgina Downer. Thank you very much for coming. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Michael Hunter Coughlan to give us the welcome to country from the Peramangk Nation. Thank you, Michael.
Good to see everybody. Yongala Maru. Nya Gary. Meraldi. Nya Gary. Quieta. I'd like to just say that I'm welcoming you as people. As you know, well, those that were here, we did a red ochre ceremony, and so those caring for country wore our ochre and became part of the caring crew, if you like, for us. And we think everybody should care for country anyway, so it's fabulous that you've made this far. Well done. I enjoyed that day we had together, or half a day, and I think some of you may be teaching my children or grandchildren probably about our own country further, because you guys are becoming quite the expert in land and land management and animal management. Thank you very much. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael, for your special welcome to country. It was great to host Michael here to give a cultural awareness workshop with the team a few months ago, and it really complemented the learnings that they had for their online training with their certificate. Today certainly is a special day for our team of Green Army participants, led by Philip Bagnato, who's been a team supervisor working for the Landcare group. As I mentioned earlier, we are very pleased that Minister Frydenberg accepted our invitation, and we'd like to acknowledge our partners in this project, our service provider Manpower Group, Landcare Australia, our community groups, Sturt Upper Reaches Landcare Group and Aldgate Valley Landcare Group. And we have some other very important stakeholders, the University of Adelaide, Natural Resources Adelaide and Mount Lofty Ranges, and the Adelaide Hills Council. And last but certainly not least, the private landholders that the team has worked with. And we have a couple of landholders here today, Josh, providing their support for the team. So I'd like to ask Craig Alderstone from the Aldgate Valley Landcare Group and Woodcutters Road Environmental Protection Group to introduce the team and get them to tell you their story.
Thank you. To start off with, I just would like to try in a couple of minutes to do justice to the ecological importance of this area, and therefore, the importance of what the team have done. And so this is the Mount Lofty Ranges, Kangaroo Island biodiversity hotspot. It's one of 15 areas identified by the federal government as one of the 15 biodiversity hotspots. Quoting the site, Mount Lofty Ranges have been extensively cleared for grazing and dryland agriculture. The ranges are a centre for declining birds, and their survival depends on the native vegetation remnants. It doesn't mention, but also there is there's a vast array of endemic species for the Mount Lofty Ranges, things that occur here and nowhere else in the world. And also EPBC related species, Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act identified species. Having a closer look now at our area. So we are around about here. There's the National Park and Mark Oliphant, Scott Creek over here, and Mount Bold, and the blue properties are the properties that we worked on, and I've missed a couple when we went through and did that, but it's a significant area of this realm of vegetation. Blair National Park, the second park in Australia, 10th in the world, never Chelsea Farm, so lots of interesting stuff in there, including bandicoots. And Michael Conservation Park with increasing levels of conservation since the 1950s, also with bandicoots, but interestingly, different genetically, so they don't mix with the other bandicoots. So we'll talk more about Danny will talk about the Searle Valley Belt project, and David with the Organic Valley Nature Group, Valley of the Bandicoots later. You may have heard scientists get excited about areas with greater than 30% remnant vegetation, and it's significant for the preservation and survival of species. Mount Lofty, sort of the region as a whole, 10% remnant, the ranges themselves 20%, our area around here 60%. So obviously that's got something to do with the number of EPC species we've got and other endangered and threatened species. The work of Searle, Sturt Landcare Group, Organic Valley Landcare Group, and the Mookalla Road Environmental Protection Association is about landholders and community members taking responsibility for the management of the land, and especially in protecting and improving habitat for threatened species. I think this Green Army team has been able to be so effective in this just 6 months because of the groundwork and the structure we already had in place. We had this network of properties with willing landholders and land carers, many of which have shared their knowledge and experience with teams, as myself and others have. We have Michael kindly, and so honestly, knowledge of First Peoples and their association in this area. We had knowledge of presence and ideal properties of bandicoot habitat, and could directly put our energy into a 5,000 plant corridor connecting known habitat, it will be blue, but through here, and having we'd already negotiated the concept with the farmer who's here today, and so we could get stuck into that. We had existing collaboration with the University of Adelaide and Dew with knowledge of bandicoots and behaviour, and to educate in use of motion detection cameras. And all this was combined and reinforced as part of the team's education. That takes something away from Phil as the team leader, supervisor, how hard and efficiently, and the team, and how hard and efficiently they worked. It's been great working with Phil. He's a great communication, and no matter what hurdles, we seem to be able to find a solution to. Phil's a great motivator, and having worked with other teams, I think his stats will show his influence with so many of them being out there day after day, and on some somewhat less enticing tasks. In this area, weeding gives our best bang for buck, so they did plenty of weeding. I don't take anything away from the individuals or the team members either, who had turned up day after day, shown the initiative, drive and intelligence to understand the big picture and been motivated to work towards those aims. I had a number of little rewards along the way when they would question the methods used, or why are we doing this work here when we could be back over doing what we were doing before. And you get that they get it, and so many people don't, and work tremendously efficiently. Oh, yeah.
Hi everybody, my name is Tom Hannum. This is my third Green Army project overall. It's really given me the confidence and great workplace experience. For example, my very first Green Army project, I was very shy, I was very timid, very anxious person. I would have never been able to talk in front of all of you. Throughout my Green Army, it's really boosted my confidence and my experience in the workplace. I've earned a lot more of some friends as well. Unfortunately, the project is coming to an end overall, but it's given us a lot of experience and confidence. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everybody that came out today on this miserable day. And yes, thank you.
See you all here. My name is Blake Hall. I have a great pleasure to be involved in this awesome project. I love to work outside, and like waking up every morning and actually wanting to go to work is a pretty awesome feeling. From day one, really, the team worked great together. We got on really well. So it's been awesome to work with all of you, and I hope to hang out with you guys in the future. Yeah, we had a lot of fun, and we also got a lot of stuff done, so that was awesome. yeah, as for me and for most of the others, it's also like very disappointing for us to know that this is probably the last project for a while, as environmental funding has been cut. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Green Army is a really good initiative to get young people going outside, getting involved with the environment and the community, which to me is a pretty beautiful thing. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Other things, there was a few other things, like a bit of this whole project, sort of a bit of disorganisation, and not blaming anyone. I mean, just we could have probably got a lot more things done. Maybe it was a shame. But also, some of the people that we're working with, it was sometimes a little bit difficult than it should have been. And at the end of the day, like all of us here, we've all got the same goal, which is to save the planet, obviously. And we let's just put everything aside and just work together. Just get it done. We've got one planet and one Earth, and let's not make it any worse than it already is. A couple of big thank yous, obviously, to Craig, who has just helped us enormously. Great leader, good advice to all of us. And I personally just like to thank Philip Bagnato, best boss I've ever had. Super caring, super encouraging man, a real true leader. So, that's all.
G'day everyone, thanks for coming out today. I'm assuming you're all the people that are involved in making this great project happen, so thanks for that. My name's Rickard, and I just want to start off with a few thank yous. All the landowners for giving us the privilege to work on their properties. There's some unreal properties out there, pretty hectic cliffs and steep terrain and stuff like that, so that's awesome. Always a bit of fun. Thank you for your amazing hospitality as well. Heaps of coffees, muffins, cakes, toasted sandwiches, facilities. We watched the Super Bowl as well, that was awesome. Massive thanks to Craig Borstone, you've been unreal. Bento the backers for not just us and the team, but for this whole project, I feel like. It would have been probably a bit of a shambles without you, so thanks for that. And same for Phil, you've been great. A bit about me. I've been part of 2 Green Army projects, both with Phil. One in Campbelltown last project, which was great. I've loved every minute of being a part of the Green Army. Taught me a lot of many new techniques and skills, and it's definitely helped me narrow down my choices to figure out what career path I want to take. I've met so many great people, and I've had the opportunity to be on a TV show with Scope. We'll show that later, I think, so you can have a bit of a laugh at that. And that was a fantastic experience as well. It's a shame the Green Army's ending, but I'm confident that it will start getting down the track. Because it's a great way to meet new people, be outdoors, respect your environment, and make a difference even if it seems small. Thank you all for listening. And one quick thing before I finish. As of next week, I'm unemployed, so if anyone's hiring.
Hi, my name is Aidan Horton. I left the Green Army project about 6 weeks ago as I found a new job. And the Green Army project it's got good skills that are transferable for other jobs in the same sort of field, horticulture, and just working outside in general. It's great to work with a good group led by a great leader, Phil, and we're all good friends, good people, and it really helped get the job done. I'd like to say thanks to Phil, Craig, everyone who's helped get this project going and kept it running, and I think it'd be great to keep it going into the future. It's a good initiative. Thank you.
Hi, my name's James Edwards. This is my first Green Army project, and it's actually sounds a bit sappy, but it's really changed my life. I was having a lot of trouble getting employment before this. I wanted to sort of get to the environment, animals, conservation. Got this job, and now I was lucky enough to secure a 3-year traineeship after this. So it's just been really awesome in that retrospect, and beyond that, it's just been a real brotherhood. So big shout out to the crew. You guys have been awesome. Hope to keep in touch with all of you. Big shout out to Phil, great boss, very approachable, very friendly, and big thanks to Craig. It's been awesome just picking your brain, getting all that knowledge out of there, very smart man. And just thanks to everyone for coming.
Well, I just really wanted to thank everyone who made this possible. It's been a really unique experience.
I'd like to thank you all for coming out today. It's good to see you all. My name is Nathan Shadyak. This is my third Green Army project. It's been great, you know, working with a bunch of people that I've been lucky to work with. It's good properties to work on. I'd like to thank all the landowners for letting us work on the properties. It's been a great experience learning all the, you know, all the tricks of the trade, and I hope it leads to future employment. I'd like to thank Philip for being an absolute weapon of a boss. He makes it awesome to come into work each day, you know, just good laugh, but good work ethic at the same time. And another thanks to Craig for always being there and, you know, sharing your knowledge with us and getting out there when it's raining, when you could be at home having a cuppa, you know. But yeah, thanks all for coming out.
Hey everyone, my name is Zach Randall. I only came into this probably halfway through. Sort of came out of nowhere, but I'm really glad I got the opportunity. I met a lot of great people. It's not something I at first would have really even thought about, but after having done this, I've really enjoyed it. It's opened up my mind a lot. I'd especially like to thank Phil for making me welcome, as well as the crew at Craig. It's been an awesome experience, and I'd be more than happy to give it another crack.
So, my name is Philip Bagnato. I've been working for Manpower since 2014 as a supervisor, and I look forward to addressing you today and reflecting my journey in this position over the last few years. This job has been a dream to me, as I've always wanted to work in the Adelaide Hills in the environmental sector doing conservation work, which is a strong passion of mine. Among the many aspects of my job that I've truly enjoyed, probably the most important one is the opportunity to work with so many people with a wide spectrum of skills and personalities, and seeing them grow and learn about the environment and the difference their work has made to conserving the nature in the Adelaide Hills. As with any job, what really makes a difference in the level of enjoyment and commitment you may have is a sense of achievement you gain from your involvement. I've worked on many projects before, both here and in Wyler. Each project has presented some amazing challenges for myself and to the members of the team I've worked with. As a supervisor, I was always clear about the objectives of the project I was working on, and I worked hard to guide and direct the members of the team to achieve those objectives on time and within budget. I'm sure if you spoke to any of the members of the team that I worked with me on these many projects over the years, they would highlight that their sense of satisfaction in the job was not only the work that made a difference to the environment, but also their sense of achievement lay in the fact that they did it together as a part of the team. To be a part of an effective team-building character, friendship, and sense of connectedness that is so important in our world today. I truly enjoy my work in shaping all the teams I've worked with, and in doing so, I observed so many members of my team gaining some of the most important skills in life as they work cooperatively to achieve a common goal. No matter for how long a period the many members of the Green Army team were involved in the various projects, I believe their involvement has had a positive impact in their lives. I recall a very clear example of this being when I first began my work in Wyler with a member of my team not having a clue where her future was taking her. Within that short space of time, I noticed that she was rapidly building a strong passion for her environmental work, and that this field of work was beginning to match her strengths and skills. Recognising this, I did my best to nurture that talent and best to use her skills to achieve the goal of the team. I could see that she was growing in confidence in this field of work, and I encouraged her to seek further opportunity in state. As I speak today, I'm proud to say she is completing her environmental science degree at Queensland University. Last time I spoke to her, she was very clear about committing to completing her honours in this degree. This is a clear example of how someone's involvement in the Green Army has truly impacted positively in their life. It's made a difference to hers, and she will go on to make a difference to the future of Australia's native environment. To my team, I'd like to thank you all for the hard work putting into achieving all the challenging goals set within this current project. I feel proud of what we have achieved as a team, and like all work I've been involved with over the years, with many teams that have worked in the community. You've made a difference to our environment. Your sense of achievement should also be clear. I cherish the friendship we've made and appreciated your support and commitment to your work. I feel saddened that the Green Army initiative is now drawing to a conclusion. I know that the work we've done together has made a positive difference to our small part of the world and to our lives. As we build friendships, strong connections around a common purpose, I feel confident that your involvement in the Green Army has helped to make you job ready for the future, and that the powers that be recognise how important funding for this type of initiative helps people to become confident and capable to seek employment to match their areas of strength. I'd like to thank Manpower for giving me this opportunity to work with a great company. I'd also like to thank Craig for supporting us all the way along this project, and also thank you to Jerry for putting this project together. I live in hope that our government does not forget the environmental cause in Australia, and that future funding in this area is provided for. Among the many important causes in our world at the moment, conserving our precious and unique environment is one I hold close to my heart. My hope and dreams is that others will feel the same, and that projects like the Green Army have undertaken serves a clear example how we can meet examples how we can meet that cause in the future. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, team. That's the passion that we know you have. It's the passion that Landcarers have, and we really appreciate you giving that to us. Josh, would you like to address the group? Thank you.
Well, firstly, can I thank Michael for the welcome to country, beautiful welcome to country, and can I pay my respects to the traditional owners of this land and their elders, past and present. Jerry, thank you, and to Landcare for the wonderful work that you've done and in helping to make this a possibility, and to Manpower. They've been a great partner for the government in the rolling out of the Green Army projects around the country. Phil, can I say Phil or Philip?
Yeah,
look, the way every person who got up here and spoke about your leadership, to hear you speak about your genuine concern for our environment, to see how much of a difference this program made to young people's lives is a real credit to you. And I've certainly been pretty touched by what you've had to say and what you've been able to do here. So I think you should be feeling really proud right now of the difference that you've made, not just to our environment, but to young people's lives. So thanks very much. Okay, thank you. Obviously, depth of expertise, understanding and knowledge about our local environment, and that combination with the youthful enthusiasm of the people who have participated is really very significant, and I can see how appreciative everyone is. Can I acknowledge my parliamentary colleague here, Josh? Thanks for turning up, and also somebody who I've got a lot of faith in, who I think is somebody who can make a wonderful contribution in public life, Georgina Downer. Georgina went to school at Macclesfield Primary. She grew up in the area. Many years ago, I worked for her dad when he was the local member, and she's gone and had a real breadth of experiences around the world and interstate. And I know you'll do a great job if given the chance. So, Georgina, thanks very much for being here. Look, I just want to make a few points because I think we've heard a lot about why the Green Army has made a significant impact on our community. The first thing I'd say as Australia's Environment Minister is we have been bequeathed an incredible inheritance. Australia has about 150,000 different species. We are one of 17 mega diverse hotspots in the world. About 90% of all our reptiles can be found nowhere else in the world. About 80% of our flora can be found nowhere else in the world. And about 40% of our birds can be found nowhere else in the world. So this is something that we should feel very proud of, but also we should do our best to conserve it. And when I think about what we do on the national stage, obviously we've got these incredible World Heritage sites, from Kakadu to Uluru to the Daintree Forest, to the Great Barrier Reef, of course. We have a wonderful breadth and depth of places. I know here, whether it's the Mount Lofty Ranges or the Flinders Ranges or many other sites here in South Australia, you also have a great environmental legacy. So for us, what we're doing is multifaceted, whether we have our 20 Million Trees program, the Landcare program, which will give a lot of opportunities to young people to participate, and we've just invested over $1 billion in that program, to our threatened species strategy, which we've rolled out. It's a 20-year strategy. And Australia has about 2,000 endangered species, flora and fauna, and for nearly 99.5% of them, we have conservation advice or various programs. And obviously here, in this area, what you've worked on is a number of those endangered species. I understand within this Green Army project, there were 5 nationally endangered species in the area and 38 different state registered species of significance. Which brings me to the Green Army. And the whole concept of the Green Army was to combine, obviously, an environmental focus with a focus on helping young people get the skills, the expertise, and the experience so that they could choose their careers. Now, this is a program that has had around 1,200 different projects across the country. So more than 11,000 young people aged 17 to 24 have been working 30 hours a week, up to 26 weeks a year, in these various projects around the country. And to hear from each individual speaker today and to see the wonderful video, I can see it's made a real difference. And I think, James, you spoke about how this has changed your life. And we all would, it's not mine. Changed your life, given you the confidence, and now the ability to land that 3-year traineeship. And as a politician, half my time stuck in Canberra in a big building with little windows, you're at the front line. We exist to provide chances for you. And obviously this program has done that. So yes, the Green Army is coming to a close, but I would say look back on what it's achieved and look what your opportunities you've been given, some of you more than once. And I think we should be very proud of that. We should, as Philip said, look to other opportunities now, other programs, to give people a similar experience. But what you've done here for the southern brown bandicoot, what you've done here in terms of improving our biodiversity, removing invasive species, all those sort of things have made a real difference to the environment here in the Adelaide Hills, made a difference to your own personal career paths, and of course strengthened our community at large. So Jerry, thank you for the invitation to be here. I'm really touched by what I've heard today, and I'm really proud that we in the federal government can play a small part in empowering you to learn and to love our wonderful environment. Thank you very much.
Landcare, I just really wanted to thank everyone in attendance today and the great Landcare team. Everyone's done an absolutely fantastic job and we've been really proud of all the efforts that everyone's put in. I'd also like to thank Jerry and especially Phil, running 6 projects from Wowler back to here, relocating as well. He's done an absolutely fantastic job. And yeah, we'd really like to see him sort of flourish in the future. So thank you everyone for coming today, I really appreciate it.
Okay, so thank you very much. Now we've got a couple of context presentations. We want to really show the quality that's come out of this project. And so Danny Rawlak, who is the president of the Sturt Upper Regions Landcare Group, will give us some context. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Jerry. The aim of the project and really what the Green Army team have been working towards in our area and also the Orgate Valley Landcare Group area and the Woodcutters Road area, been to support the local environment through improving, protecting, extending and linking habitat areas, and that increases protection, movement and intermingling of native species. Now, importantly, we've been working to improve habitat for the local threatened species, and bandicoots are flagship species. It's not the only endangered species, it's not the only important species, but it's something that people can really latch onto and attract attention. And when we improve habitat for bandicoots, we're improving habitat for woodland birds and a lot of other species as well, as a rule. So it's a really valuable way for us to approach it. So as Josh and others have mentioned, we have a number of other endangered species in the area. We've been talking about Meraldi Conservation Park briefly here, the National Park over there. Clearland is up here, and if you're wondering what all these lilac coloured dots are, they're bandicoot recordings. So you can see where you've got a whole lot of bandicoot recordings together. We've got really got a hotspot. Scott Creek down here, Adelaide National Park up here, our area in the middle here, Clearland up there. We've got Valley and Bandicoots areas over here. So you can see it's really, if you're looking at the central Adelaide Hills area and where Bandicoot's located, we're really in a very important position, and particularly if you're looking at connecting up the really big populations in Scott Creek and in Blair National Park and Clearland. This is all this area in between. Our area here is the start of that, connecting between Blair National Park and Michael Hunter. Okay. So it's obviously this has been spoken about, but it is an area of high biodiversity, many rare plants and so on, and endangered woodland birds, orchids, etc. This Landcare group became, so one more slide just please. A few years ago we decided that we would like to take a landscape approach to this area rather than just picking individual properties to work on. So we formed a project called Hollyville, and the name comes from Oliphant and Belair, and looking at the area in between. As you can see from that, you see the amount of native habitat that's there in those parts. You can see there's quite a lot here on private land as well, and patches through there, but you can see there's a lot missing as well. So through human habitation, we tend to decrease the amount of habitat and we fragment it. So there's gaps in things, so creatures don't have safe havens to retreat to, and predators like foxes and cats and so on can get them. So big focus here to improve the habitat in that area. Now that's an ongoing project. Nearly. One important point, virtually all that land is under private ownership. That makes it a very big job to connect up with that. One of the things that we've done in this project, largely through Craig's hard work, is to contact all the landholders along that particular road, more than 20 of them, and get them virtually all on board with this project. The Green Army team visited all of those properties. That's the sort of thing where really some ongoing assistance would be very beneficial to help that get going. Otherwise, it's a bit like cleaning out the gutters once. It all comes back again. And I'd just like to thank, at the end, the support that we've had from the State Department of Environment, Natural Resources, Adelaide Lofty Ranges, local government, through Landcare, and various other people that have supported the group. And we hope to continue receiving support into the future from various levels of government to help get this going, and hopefully one day extend it down to Scott Creek. Thank you.
I'd like to invite David Musrud from the Orgate Valley Landcare Group, commonly called the Valley of Bandicoots. Thanks, David.
Hey, I'm from the Orgate Valley Landcare Group, and when it comes to sort of land landscape scale restoration. We're one of what's politely described as a mature project. Our project's been going since 2003. Did you get the other one? Would you like that? Yeah, I know. So, that's where we are. It's called Adelaide. It basically consists of habitat restoration on 10, mostly Adelaide Hills Council reserves, and more than 20 participating landholders linked together by a backbone of unmade road reserves, fire tracks and country lanes. You can now walk through that whole project area on a walking trail, which we opened in 2013, and asked them for a brochure if you're interested. Over the past 20 years, our Landcare group's been helped by several different Green Corps and Green Army teams. The teams always give us a huge morale boost. Most of what our volunteers do in the hills is pretty irksome. It's repetitive, it's necessarily long term. We worry away a little bits of bush with our secateurs and our swap bottles, and we try to maintain areas we've rehabilitated in the past, and we nibble away at the edges of depressingly large weed fronts, which we can see are going to take us many, many years to overcome. So having a young and energetic Green Army team like these guys turn up, it just makes things seem possible. It feels like a miracle when they turn up and they just do a big hit on one of our sites. It makes us feel wanted as volunteers, and they achieved a lot, these guys. I'd like to see some of these young people go on to find careers in environmental restoration work in the Adelaide Hills or elsewhere, ideally the Adelaide Hills, ideally Allgate Valley. The work is desperately needed. We've heard just in this area around here, we've got a large suite of birds, mammals, reptiles, plants which are endangered, threatened, vulnerable, or even just worryingly rare. I've been involved in Landcare for 29 years. I've seen government support in biodiversity projects rise and fall. I think it's fair to say at the moment we're at the bottom of a trough, at least I hope it's the bottom. I remember a former Federal Environment Minister, Robert Hill. He never used to talk about environmental expenditure, he always talked about environmental investment. He used to call it investment in our natural resource infrastructure. But unfortunately, biodiversity is one of those areas of government investment where the outlay is pretty obvious, but the return is usually long-term, diffuse across the economy, and it's difficult to measure. So we know that even a modest investment in biodiversity does generate sustained returns in ecotourism, ecosystem services, human health and other things. We also know that environmental restoration generates more jobs for every dollar spent than any other economic activity. Environmental work is very labour intensive. Robots can't do what these guys do. In the Adelaide Hills, environmental restoration is a significant employer. If you walk through the bush, you'll frequently come across teams of 10 or 12 people working on different sites. We work on the Smilk and Morley rag often to restore our natural heritage. It's unfortunately a very fragile industry sector. It's characterised by short-term contracts and lower than average wages and unpredictable fluctuations in demand. But career paths are far from assured, and I'd have to say that the prospects for these guys are currently pretty bleak. And I think they're aware of that. But it doesn't sound like they're going on, and best of luck to them. So nevertheless, I want to congratulate this Green Army team as a crew, and also as individuals. As I said, I've worked with quite a few Green Corps and Green Army teams over the past 20 years, and some of them are great crews, and I still talk to some of those past team members who've gone on to forge careers in the environmental sector. But I have to say that this crew may well be the best one I've ever worked with, and I don't say that lightly. Every site I took them to, they finished ahead of time. I never heard any whinging, but sure Phil never heard any whinging either. I never saw any shirting. I sort of warned some of my other colleagues at the start of this project that don't have too high expectations of what a Green Army team can achieve. They surprised me, they overachieved everything. They were a great crew. I really wish them all the best. They're motivated, good-hearted team. I wish them all the best. And Philip Bagnato, the team leader, we've heard a lot about him. A great team leader, exemplary leadership, a cool head, and just quite competence, and obviously inspired the team. I want to thank Jerry, who has behind the scenes been a major player in organising this project and getting off the ground. And a lot of the stuff that you don't see, Jerry's done behind the scenes, and I appreciate that. Like the team said, it's a shame the funding's been cut and that this is the last team. I do hope the government will reconsider that and also look at the environmental spending more generally. Thank you.
And our last presentation is Craig's.
All right, well, first of all, I'm going to apologise for reading because I tried to back this off normal dot points like I normally speak, and there's no way I can tell you if I talk to that. So come to me afterwards, you know, many much like contact as you like, but I'm going to read this very quickly. I'm president of the Woodcutters Road Environmental Protection Association, which is a group of landholders with 20 properties covering 160 hectares. It's basically close to and to the Sturt River. Over 10 years ago, we agreed to manage our properties as one area under one management plan. These lines are human straw, the boundaries don't mean much to most other living things. We attracted significant funding for contractors, one particular 5-year project, to efficiently carry out weed control, and while we have not removed every last weed, I can say there are a few areas left now where weeds dominate in a way that limit the function of the natural ecosystems. The funds went to contractors' time, and all the administration was covered by us, the landholders, and presented to the funding body in a way that minimised their costs of administration. I like to think it was pretty good bang for buck, and that investment continues to be protected by the landholders. If you're free this Saturday at 10 a.m, we are following up with some brood control. You're all welcome. One of the Green Army team members will be there helping us. There have been other benefits, like finding 2 previously unknown EPC species. One of those, leafy greenwood, is really the only other main significant population. It was 500 when we started, there's 800 when it was, and you will only find that in 2 locations in anywhere, and one other very small location. Educating the community and bringing them together. Although some would argue once they could go for a walk and appreciate the pretty wildflowers, now they see the weeds. Most of these people with 5, 10, 20 hectare properties felt like they should be looking after it, but they didn't know exactly what to do or how to do that efficiently. Now they do know that, and they seek support from each other and share their learning and their observations amongst the group with our many gatherings. I think the success of that project was one of the prompts for the Ollie Bell project. But that is more focused and ambitious in its target of improving the connectivity between the parks. Get off to a great start, but being a bigger area, it's just that much harder to get the majority of this large number of properties all on the same page, all working with the one plan and achieving that connectivity. Prior Green Army teams offered important resources, but our share of those joint applications meant that we could really only follow up on past work. The Green Army team, with a full 6 months to plan and dedicate to tasks, along with Aldgate Valley Landcare Group, and Adelaide Hills Council Reserves. And I must just say quickly, David, thank you. This was very, very busy for me over this period. When it was Aldgate Valley, I could have the week off because you just looked after everything. That was fantastic, thank you. Yeah, it wasn't just to follow up past Olivelle and Reaper work, but to expand and press further to this aim of connectivity and managing land between the parks. It allowed us to test and to begin to look at prototypes of what might be possible with the right sort of backing into the future. Our first step was to invite to have a public meeting here to discuss opportunities available to landholders from this Green Army team. Free wheeling, you think will be overrun, in particular the Hilltop Road, which is down here, and the properties associated with that. It's very important, it's a big area, and not that many people, but 20 people who are involved, and then you're looking after that whole area. So that was important. We letterbox dropped. And we have one of the residents here, but we letterbox dropped, except for Vance, and we got one person turn up from that road. But that was a very important person because she couldn't see any reason why everyone else wouldn't be into it, and so she gave me a telephone list and she told me who would be really keen. And so I rang those people first, and I went out and I met them and I walked their property and we discussed weed control and best methods, what they thought was important. I sort of asked them what sort of questions to get a feel for their personalities and how they felt. So, and also I talked to them about their neighbours and what are your neighbours like? What are they, you know? And then they gave me my next in to the next one. And in the end we got 18 of the 20 properties. So, and a huge area which enabled the team to work. It was a very time-consuming process, but I don't think you can shortcut. You must take that time to understand people, have empathy for their circumstances, their desires for their own patch, to gain their trust and be in a position to offer information in the right way that you might influence their ideas for doing something better, rather than them shut them down and say, thinking, go away, Greenie, and leave me alone. You can't judge them or have expectations of them. You'll no doubt get some of that, some people that way, but you won't get the sort of connectivity we're looking at for. We're looking at getting all the properties, or as close as we can to it. Pick a number of properties in another, over this area, we could have expanded more, but we, this sort of region, but we were already over the amount of work we had. With the team, you were flat out, and so we didn't press further with that. But into the future, who knows? Observations of the team working, thinking to the future, and as a prototype. The 9 people was a lot, but then it was also a training program, and there's efficiencies there of having enough, people with that training program to do it. I think. Often we split into 2 doing jobs, so maybe a team of 4. I think a team of 4 can work very efficiently. Even with background training, some of the team had prior experience. It takes a while to get familiar with the weeds over these large areas. It takes a while to get to know a site, where to put your energy to be most effective, and what to let go until next time. As time passed, the team became more familiar with the area and the landholders themselves. We got to a stage where they might finish a job early on one side of the project area, and they would suggest, why don't we go back to 4 Hilltop and push that line further? Or gee, it's borderline hot weather today. We probably should call off, because we knew the area. We could say, okay, well look, let's start a little bit earlier, and let's go to that site where we know there's good shade, it's not far from the road, we can bail out at any time. Let's just work through to lunchtime. And so a day that could have been written off, we got sort of 5 hours out of it. So and that comes from having that knowledge and having a team continuing and working on. There's all sorts of efficiencies we can pull out of a longer team, working on a year-round program, knowing where to go and to target for maximum effect. Of course, it needs to be the right sort of people, always hungry for the next job, and there's plenty of them here, and the initiative to get on with things, working to aims they believe in, and they themselves hold strongly. I think we need to be efficient and utilise all the resources available. Our family have adopted a 20-hectare part of the Blair National Park that we manage in conjunction with the Friends Group. We're currently working with Dew fire ecologists on controlled burning of parts of it, and using that to our advantage in the weed control. Aldgate Valley Landcare Group talk about the work they're doing across properties in that area. We have friends of Michael Hunter Coughlan. Adelaide Hills Council they've been great to work with. Rod, who's here, made a lot of things really easy for us. And the other 2 councils, not so good at this stage. So for our situation, but that's a relationship to foster and bring on board. We have keen, knowledgeable landholders, some that don't know much but they're curious, and we've also got those that really aren't that interested at all. They just, they live in their house and that's their backyard, and they're not that interested. But we need the right communication to get the best outcome, considering and understanding all those people and keeping focus on that aim of the connectivity and of that landscape scale planning. It's not a new concept. It looks at the UK and what they call national parks. They're not just government land. They look at management across farms, reserves. I don't see why this area can't be renowned internationally for its natural qualities, regardless of land tenure, with all the benefits that brings, and David talked a bit about those. Check out the Lake District National Park website, listen to recordings from landholders saying why they think that is a good concept, why that works for them. Yeah, we need to educate and communicate, work together, pull it all together, and it needs to be ongoing. It's the ongoing thing that often with funding that is an issue. SERG, as with ADLG and REPA, as you might expect, has a small, enthusiastic, but in many ways overcommitted core group. We've had good support from due staff, but also there's only so many hours in a day, and their resources seem to get spread thinner and thinner. So our conclusion is that such an ambitious big plan, we need to have a person in position to pull it together, the landholders and the organisations, and have a go-to point that can promote and grow the objectives. But as with the 4-person team mentioned earlier, it needs to be the right person to communicate, educate and gain trust. And also, just briefly, this concept of investment in the environment. You know, we shouldn't be, there's a job to do, we'll put aside that amount of money. The money should be, I think, allocated to a plan, and to have the monitoring and have the outcome. And there's some slides over here from the 5-year investment in Woodcutters Road, and you know, the changes it can achieve, having the people there to back it up and follow through afterwards. Then it becomes a real investment for future generations. Yeah, but you know, protection and improvement without threatening flora and fauna, and yeah, that's about it.
As mentioned a couple of times, the Adelaide Hills Council has been a really important stakeholder. A lot of the work has happened particularly in the Aldgate Valley Landcare Group area on council reserves. I'd like to invite the Deputy Mayor to say a few words on behalf of Adelaide Hills Council.
Thank you, Chair. Now my program says the Minister should have gone one day. So I'm actually going to thank Michael very much for connecting us to country, but I'm going to abandon the rest of the thank yous and acknowledgements, because I think most of you have done that. So what I'm going to do is just make a couple of comments, and that one is that the reason I'm here today is to thank the Green Army. Your work is priceless. From a council point of view, we couldn't do what you do. It's a pleasure to work with all the Landcare groups. It really is. And to hear your stories, to tell us that it does more for you because of the skills and the encouragement that you get and the self-confidence that you get, just shows you what fantastic added value there is to these programs. So thank you for your work. Now, I just wanted to mention 2 other things, and that is that the Green Army, you are our Landcare soldiers. Now, I was in the Army for 10 years, and I can tell you, like any grunt or digger, I know the work is hot and sweaty, and it might appear thankless, but I've got to tell you, it is so worthwhile, and I'm so glad to hear that it's been rewarding for you. Now, this is my message to the Minister, and it is thank you very much for coming today, showing your support and the support that you've had in the past. So I was thinking on the Green Army lines, if you get to be Prime Minister for a day, maybe you could introduce conscription for the Green Army. You'll see just how much great stuff can be done. Now, we know that Landcare matters, and we've seen what great relationships there are between local government and these groups. Now, I'm going from here actually to Canberra, to the National Assembly for Local Governments, and I'm part of our state local government board here. So I offer a proposal to you, which is that if you would like to meet myself or any of the other members of that board in Canberra, we'd be really happy to talk to you about anything we can do to help facilitate your work and your efforts and our work and the efforts of these people to work in partnership. But this doesn't have to be funding, this is about facilitating and how we can work together with you so that more people can have the opportunity for these guys. So I put that out there for you, and I'll give you my card. All right, thank you so much.
proceedings. I'd like to especially thank the Minister and our stakeholders for being here today. It's been a wonderful opportunity to acknowledge the great work that the Green Army team has done, and the Landcare Association is proud to actually be able to facilitate these things. We do it for you, and it's really an important opportunity. So thank you very much.
Creating habitat from a weed, what we had to start with was a weedy habitat. So we had blackberry, we had gorse, we had broom. A whole lot of weeds, but bandicoots were living in it. We wanted to get that back to natural bush, but in a way that didn't make the bandicoots disappear. So it's been happening for about 20 years, and over that time it's been a staged removal of weeds and gradually allowing the bush to come back and supplemented by additional planting. My school groups, every year we tend to have a school group planting. So we've got a path down there. We have some interpretive signs on some of the plants. That's a work in progress to get that completed. But this will just give you a bit of a kangaroo thorn. It's a native wattle, very pretty when it flowers, but very prickly, little tiny spines on it. Fantastic habitat for small birds, for bandicoots. You can imagine a little bandicoot or something trying to get away from a fox or a cat or whatever. It can get in under all this rubbishy, what we would probably think of rubbishy stuff underneath. It can get away, get some protection. So those sorts of plants, that dense understory is really good for bandicoot habitat. Koala. So it's good to see the animals using the bush. And you see over the side down there, there's old dried weeds and things and dead bracken fern. That's also fantastic habitat. So we don't take our wood. So there's that dense layer underneath, which is, if you're talking about bandicoots and small little reptiles, of course the weedy grass keeps coming up through it. So to maintain that is quite a difficult exercise. Bracken here and how good that is. Once again, if you imagine you're a small animal running through there trying to get away from a cat or whatever, you've got a pretty good chance. But you can see there's a lot of potential here to thicken up the vegetation more and put in more natives. So gradually working up that slope. That's a wettish area, so there's particular plants we would choose to put in there. We do want to be putting in a path that goes across, wanders from here further so that we can wander up to that edge and across and zigzag up the slope. So to make this a loop path. That's a work in progress. It's a bit of a job. So that will make the site a bit more something that you can really spend some time on and see a bit more of it. So and a sitting bench there so you can sit there and contemplate nature, watch some birds, that sort of thing. So it's really good. And as I said, school groups every year that plant a few things. We're at regular working bees, generally once a month.